So when I think about the fact that it's Black History Month, and I also think about the fact that simultaneously there are conversations and moves being made to remove Black history from education, I think it is also very important that we remember what our ancestors did when before they even put our history into education and before there was a Black History Month. And one of those methods was storytelling. In order for the next generations to not forget the history or even repeat it, the elders used to just orally explain, verbally explain what happened, what they went through, and how they made it over. So for me, and hopefully for you too, I'm going to start sharing the stories of the people in my family that I felt were wronged in ways that could have deeply impacted their lives and we would never know. So my dad was born in the 1970s, which puts him graduating high school in the late 1980s. During this time, he went to a high school that was still very much majority white. So my dad was able to navigate the challenges that came along with that fairly well. One situation that stood out to me though was his counselor, somebody that was hired to help the students, obviously, get into college. Now, my dad was top of his class, intelligent, academic performing young man. So, because of this, my dad and his colleagues, who are also Black, were selected to participate in a college program that would have allowed them to earn college credits. Essentially, when we think about that long term, that would have gave him a leg up in life. But back to this counselor. So somehow my dad and his Black colleagues' application to this university got lost by the counselor, and he didn't find them until after the deadline had passed. Now, I know y'all are probably going to be in the comments with some, what if he really did lose the applications? But what if he didn't? What if? Now, regardless of if this was an act of racism or not, I want us to think about the trajectory of my dad's life. At that point in time, having college credits, college experience, and potentially even a college degree could have set him up for success. He could have potentially had time to explore different career options and started off at a much better point than what he did. And that would have then affected me and my sister's lives and our trajectories, our kids' lives and their trajectories. And from the point of view of reality, as a first generation college student, I did have and encounter some situations where, because neither of my parents had been to college, they weren't able to help me through. I want to be clear that this is no woe is me, sympathy for my dad type of story. I just wanted to be clear that even in the late 1980s, that there was still very strong acts of racism taking place that affected the trajectory of our people and of our culture, that then affects the trajectory for generations to come. And I wholeheartedly believe that we should share these stories with our kids and their kids to remind them of what we've overcome and how far we still have to go.